for today. We are here with Karl Finn from Volcano, the Volcano Digital Marketing Agency, and basically we want to learn from him what the team is doing over there and how he's thinking about growth online. Originally from Iceland, Karl has been involved with the marketing world in Florida for the past 10 years, actually. He's been working on projects with local businesses, so that's very, very interesting to chat about that. International businesses as well as marketing projects in collaboration with other marketing agencies around the globe. So, Karl, I'm pleased to have you on the show.
Yeah, pleased to meet you, and thank you for having me on.
Very cool. So tell us about Volcano. What is it all about?
So Volcano Digital Marketing, so we kind of help businesses when it comes to their online presence. So it's pretty much a combination of search engine optimization, ads on Google, Bing, Yahoo, and even Facebook, as well as kind of like an overall online reputation management. So when it comes to getting reviews on Google, getting reviews on Facebook, and just kind of the overall kind of online presence, making sure that your business is visible online. And we also do kind of website design, almost exclusively WordPress websites. So making sure that businesses have a website that's gonna work well on desktop, on tablets, on mobile phone, because that's so important today when everyone's basically kind of doing searches on their phone.
Yeah, very cool. What types of businesses are you working with primarily?
It's been mainly service-related businesses. So we work with kind of pool services, pest control, lawn care, kind of home renovations. So it's been a lot of in the home services industry, but a lot of service businesses in general.
Interesting. And what do you find? What is what do those type of companies really care about? Is it the click to calls? Is it the leads? How do you help them best usually?
Yeah, I think those kind of companies, I feel like when it comes to their, let's say, take for example, pest control, it's really when someone is searching for pest control, they're not really going to spend a lot of time searching online. If you have bugs in your house, you're going to find the first company you see, you're going to call them, you're going to kind of get them to come out. So I feel a big part is showing up in the results, and also making it as easy to understand what your business offers. So when it comes to things like landing pages, you wouldn't be extremely easy. So the content, the form, you would just want to kind of make the person kind of try and call right away. So kind of making sure to kind of test out different things on the landing pages to kind of get leads in that way.
Makes a lot of sense. How would this type of companies find you, right? Given that they are, obviously super busy, or very often probably, I'm assuming, super busy business owners. How do they, come across Volcano and, learn to work with you guys?
I've kind of been lucky in the sense that a big part of my business has actually been referrals from other clients. So I've done in the last few years, I go a lot out and just kind of network with people in the community, with businesses in the community, kind of getting clients that way. And then, those clients tell other clients. So I've been lucky in the sense that I've really not had to spend a lot of time and effort and money on ads and those kind of stuff. So I've gotten a lot of my business just coming from networking and referrals.
Very nice. Very good. Very interesting. Anything else that you were exploring there? Is, for that particular group that you're working with, does SEO, for example, is that something that you would be even applying to your own business? Or you think, this is really about relationship building?
Yeah, I think that's really something, as marketing agencies often do. They often put their own business at the end of the line and kind of focus on their clients' work. So it's actually something I'm kind of putting an emphasis on now, on the last few months, actually doing more SEO work for my own agency. And that's kind of been working pretty well so far. And I'm kind of, getting more higher in the rankings. So I'm kind of getting more traffic and kind of calls coming in from that, because I've been spending a lot of time kind of doing that for myself, which kind of last year I almost did no SEO for myself. I just kind of put myself at the end of the line. But yeah, I'm going to kind of continue to grow. I want to kind of do more of that.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I would love to learn a little bit more about the the nature of the businesses that you work with and the people, right? Because you mentioned pest control, you mentioned services businesses. Do you usually would work with, a marketeer, or is that the business owner that just tells you, that they would love to get more leads? How does your reality look like?
Yeah, most of the time it's just like the business owner that actually usually handles all the decisions. So they're usually the ones that kind of reach out. They a lot of them actually kind of know that they need help because like the service industry in general, there's a lot of competition.
Hmm.
There's a lot of big players that are spending a lot of money and time on SEO.
Hmm.
So, they kind of reach out to me. They know that they need help. And a lot of the time it's all about educating them. Like they hear these buzzwords, they hear about SEO, they hear about Google Ads, but they really don't understand what it actually means and kind of what's needed. So a big part of my job is to kind of educate them, kind of, kind of tell them how it works,
Hmm.
how long it's going to take, the impact it can really have.
Interesting. And can you tell me more about how you are sort of supporting those businesses in qualifying the leads? Is there, is that, do you work as far as helping them in lead qualification? Is that something that is not really relevant in this cases? Maybe you can share your thoughts on lead qualification there.
I think kind of yeah, kind of part of the lead qualification. So like we can do like it's called call tracking, where
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of track every. Let's say we're running a Google Ads campaign, we can track every phone call that's coming in, and we can kind of listen to the call, and we can kind of see, is it a qualified lead or is it not a qualified lead,
Mm-hmm.
and that way we can kind of trace that phone call to a specific campaign that we're running. And if we see there's a lot of like non-relevant calls coming in for a certain campaign, we can either make adjustments to that or even like pause that campaign because we're going to see that it's not relevant. So yeah, so we absolutely do make sure that the leads and everything coming in is actually qualified.
Very interesting. And you mentioned like, because obviously we had a lot of conversations with the different agencies, and you're saying actually listening to the calls is probably one of the best ways for you guys.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's often like a thing that like either agencies don't like pay a lot of attention to, or even a lot of agencies that I know don't even know about those kind of things that you can actually utilize. But because at the end of the day, like a lot of times, like especially for service businesses, they want the phone calls coming in,
Yep.
but they also want the phone calls to actually be qualified, not just getting like 100 phone calls and 90 of them are just, are not going to lead to a sale.
Yeah, I was actually curious about that because sort of, especially sort of in the, service businesses, handyman type of businesses, do you see that there is a request for more leads, or is it really to help them to get better leads? Like what do you
Yeah,
usually see?
I think it is a request to get better leads because like most often either like the owner themselves is either going to like be the one that's going to like be getting the calls to their own phone,
Hmm.
so they don't want to be getting like 100 phone calls where it's not going to lead to anything because like
Yeah.
it's basically wasting their time. So they would rather get 10 phone calls that are going to be high quality,
Yeah.
that's going to lead to something, instead of getting like a lot of phone calls that's not going to do anything.
Makes a lot of sense. That ties a little bit into my next question, which would be how you're thinking about winning more leads from the website. You already partially answered it, that it's important, the quality.
Yeah.
Is anything else that you sort of, how you thinking or looking at conversion rate or conversion rate optimization for that matter?
Well, I've kind of been doing some like tests on my own website, just kind of testing out different kind of the content on the pages,
Mm-hmm.
tested out some live chat, so just tested out like all these things to kind of see what's coming in. But what's kind of been most interesting for my own business is almost well, I would say probably a majority of the leads coming in is phone calls. I think what plays a part in as well is, sorry, I work with a lot of like local businesses here in Florida, and the kind of demographics here is a little older.
Mm-hmm.
So those kind of business owners, like 50 plus, they are kind of more used to actually picking up the phone.
Yep.
So a lot of the leads I get in is just like phone calls coming in instead of like which I would have expected more like website lead forms and those kind of things.
Gotcha. Makes a lot of sense. Very interesting, very interesting. So, okay. So maybe one last question about sort of, the website and tracking and so on and so forth before we learning a little bit more about you personally as a leader of the agency. Maybe can you tell me at last, can you tell me how you're sort of, trying to optimize and trying to help the clients that you work with to not just generate traffic, but, generate leads out of those? What are sort of things that you are working with when you're working with your partners to do that?
Well, I think kind of like when I start working with a client, I kind of take a look at the overall picture for them. Like I look at their website and I kind of look at like, do they have Google Analytics set up? And if they do, and in most cases, if they do, I kind of take a look at the like traffic trends that have been happening. Like, are there seasonal trends? I kind of look at all the kind of data from the actual website, like, click-through rate, bounce rate, page on like how many time I spend on each page. And after I kind of know like the baseline, I kind of go in and make changes to the pages, add more pages, and then we kind of compare the two, as well as kind of comparing the conversion data and everything coming in. So there's a lot of like doing like a lot of A/B testing to begin with, trying to kind of figure out like, what's our baseline, what should be our goal for how many leads should be coming in.
Yep.
And then we can kind of, continued optimization, like making sure that, okay, things are good, but could they be better? Kind of testing out these different things.
What's your experience actually with the sort of local business owners? What type of requests would you be getting? Is that actually that somebody would tell you, please help me to increase my conversion rate? Or is it, I just want to get better calls? Like, what is usually the task that you would be getting from?
Yeah, it would usually be like, they would call me like, I need more calls coming in, or like, I need more business. It's basically that. So, and then I kind of, when I educate them and kind of like go more into the details of like, how important it is to, and most of them, like a lot of them have Google Analytics set up on their website, but they've never even logged into it. So they really don't understand how it all works. So, as I educate them how it actually works and show them like how, much of an impact that can actually be going in and looking at the data, I think it kind of opens up a whole new world to them.
Very cool. Very interesting. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about you as a leader of the agency. Maybe if you could tell me like, what type of content do you consume? Where do you learn in order sort of to educate yourself? What is good resources or your go-to resources?
I think like I'm always trying to learn something more, something new. Like I go like a couple of times every week. I'm reading like, search engine journal, search engine land, going to those like marketing places online where I'm kind of reading what's going on. So I kind of like, when some of the Google content comes out, like, John Mueller, stuff like that kind of comes out with something, I really kind of try and follow the trends, kind of what's going on in the industry. Sometimes I just go on like, I'm very kind of interested in learning more marketing. So I sometimes just go on YouTube, kind of just search for videos, so I'm just kind of interested in hearing others' perspectives of some things, because I feel I know a lot about digital marketing, but there's a lot to it. So like, if I can learn something new every month, I feel that's going to benefit me. It's going to benefit like my clients as well.
Very good. And what would be a topic that you would have recently researched? Maybe something where you really focused on. Do you have an example for us?
Kind of, I think most recently I was kind of taking a look at like with the kind of newest kind of Google algorithm changes and how it's kind of impacting other, like I haven't really been seeing like big impacts to my own clients, but I've kind of been like doing some research online and seeing like certain companies out there are seeing like impacts from these, algorithm changes.
Very good. Interesting. Okay. So I think we learned quite a lot about, how the agency is working, who are you working with, what the types of clients are, and what the demands are that are really matching those type of clients. What I would love to do is jump into our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready for those?
Yeah, sure.
It's usually, one word, one sentence answers, something like that.
All right.
Okay. So for your company, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say the word marketing operations?
I think it's just like all the different programs and softwares I use to kind of make sure everything's running smoothly.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say the word sales operations?
It's just the kind of the different outreach tools that I kind of have to kind of try and get more business that way.
Gotcha. What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
I think it's trying to get more clients in.
If there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be one thing that you want to have fixed for your clients today?
Making them all show up number one for every type of different keyword in their industry.
Very good. I like that request. We can give it to John.
Yeah.
What is the last thing that kept you awake at night about your company?
Honestly, it never really keeps me up. Like,
Good.
Yeah, I think overall, yeah, like I'm pretty much the type of person like where I can just go to sleep without having a lot of worry, and then I kind of just wake up the next day and start worrying about it again. So, but yeah.
Very nice. And the very last question is, if you would restart Volcano today, this is the first day you're working on the company, what's one advice that you would give yourself?
I think I would keep it more simple. Kind of, when I kind of started my own company, like I was really trying to do everything at once. So I was going to try to do like a little bit of like doing the outreach, like networking, like trying to like, so I would think I would keep it more simple, like focus on one thing to begin with, which has kind of like worked well is doing the networking, kind of getting these referrals and kind of focusing on that. But yeah, I think I would have like looking back, I probably will try and keep it more simple instead of trying to do everything at once.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Carl, for letting us know much more about how Volcano works, how you working together with a lot of local businesses to help them getting number one more leads, but also better qualified leads, so that the business owners actually pick up the phone for highly qualified leads.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for taking the time and being part of Pathmark Presents today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.